Marwadi University, Professor Dr. Meda Srinivasa Rao, Faculty of Management Studies, Marwadi University, Mr. Amanullah Bhatti, winner of Avlokan 2024. A big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. And a student of BBA FM Semester 4. And last but not the least, Professor Ronak Raitatta, Faculty Advisor of Finance Club and the moderator for the panel discussion. Over to you, Professor Ronak Raitatta.
I again welcome all the gentlemen over here on the stage. Brief profile and introduction has already been shared about all the experts being part of it, so we'll not be taking it further, but would like to just share the names of all who are sitting on the panel. We have with us Dr. Rasanand Panda. Thank you so much, sir, for being here. CA Abhishek Doshi. Thank you, sir. Professor Dr. Sunil Kumar Jakhoria, Dean of Faculty of Management Studies. Thank you, sir. Dr. Srinivasa Meda Rao, thank you so much, sir, for being here. And a huge round of applause for a student volunteer. Amanullah Bhatti, who was a winner of the Avlokan. That was a group discussion competition held by the Finance Club. And it takes a lot of courage for a student to be over here and be a part of the panel discussion. Thank you so much. Now, as far as budget 2024 is concerned, though it is an interim budget, there are a lot of points which are talked about it. Especially the talk of the town was about capital investment, which has been taken further to 11.11 lakhs crores. There were few points which were talked in the favor of the budget and few against it. Declining unemployment rate, which was highlighted by Mr. Meg as well, who presented on that topic. Declining current account deficit, declining gross NPA as a percentage of the advances given by banks and financial institutions, fall in the inflation, increasing GST collections are the points which are in favor of the government, and they were appropriately discussed as well. But at the same time, there were few points which were not taken up quite in a positive manner, as it was suggested by Professor Rasanand Panda as well. Like, we were far away from the fiscal consolidation target that we had set in 2016-17. Welfare schemes have got significant cuts. If you talk about the percentage of allocation of GDP towards education and health, it has been kept stagnant at 0.38% and 0.30% respectively. So now these are some important points about the budget. Keeping this in background, we would like to start with the first question to Rasanand Panda. We have been collecting all the questions through the QR code which was displayed to all the students right from the first session. The first question to you, sir: how do you evaluate this budget as far as our fiscal prudence is concerned? We have a mic.
You know, if you go by the record, looks nice. Because they are saying 5.8 था, I mean 5.9 था, हमने 5.8 किए हैं, 5.1 ले आएंगे, अगले 2 साल में उसको 4.5 तक ले लेंगे. Announcement is nice, achievement is also nice. If they have brought from 5.9 to 5.8, ठीक है, 1.1% किए हैं तो success तो है ही है. But again, I mean, मेरा तो इसमें खुला नहीं, but मेरा PPT में है, GST collection बढ़ रहा है, टैक्स कलेक्शन बढ़ रहा है, बट इफ यू लुक एट द नेट इंक्रीज इन द नेट टैक्स रेवेन्यू नहीं बढ़ा हुआ है. द प्लान फॉर द नेक्स्ट ईयर 2024-25 नेट टैक्स रेवेन्यू नहीं बढ़ा है. एंड इफ यू वांट ए प्रूफ, आई कैन स्ट्रेट अवे गो देयर एंड शो माय पीपीटी. ये सरकारी डॉक्यूमेंट है. सरकारी डॉक्यूमेंट को थोड़ी सी परसेंटेज एनालिसिस कर देंगे तो पता चल जाएगा. सो देयरफॉर, एंड डिसइन्वेस्टमेंट रेवेन्यू, यू नो व्हाट इज द स्टेटस ऑफ डिसइन्वेस्टमेंट. एंड यू नो जीएसटी रेवेन्यू बढ़ रहा है, हर महीने बढ़ रहा है. But look at the total GST revenue that they are saying as a percentage that is not increasing, rather they are planning to GST to reduce. So therefore, as economist, as I mentioned, I am not convinced कि आगे चल के fiscal deficit और fiscal discipline path they will be able to maintain. But as citizen of the country, as I said, I am both. I am economist, I am citizen of the country. As a citizen of the country, I will prefer if I will prove wrong. कि भाई अगर देश के अंदर फिस्कल डेफिसिट कंट्रोल होगा, फिस्कल ग्लाइड पाथ अच्छा होगा, as citizen why I will not support it? Because it is good for the economy. But हो पाएगा क्या? That's my doubt. Because डेटा कहता है, मैं कुछ नहीं कहता हूँ, डेटा कहता है, just I did a percentage analysis. आप लोग QT तो पढ़ते हो, Q1, Q2, simple percentage analysis will give you everything. Correct? If still any of a doubt, I just have to go there. So therefore, to answer your question on for the students, as economist, I am not convinced the way it is going to happen. But as a citizen of the country, I will be more than happy if this government can manage the fiscal discipline.
Very honest and comprehensive answer of the question. Again, one more question is asked to you, sir, by Mr. Nihar Hindocha, who is from MBA. Is he here? Good. So he talks about, sir, we have been talking about the de-dollarization since last many number of years. De-dollarization.
Very good question.
So reducing the our weightage and our dependency on the dollar. So what government is doing in this regards?
So the person who asked it here. Correct. Thanks. You know, बैठो. यही क्वेश्चन मैंने यही टॉपिक मैंने पढ़ाया था नवंबर 2023 में मेरे कॉलेज में अबाउट व्हाइल टॉकिंग मैक्रो इकोनॉमिक्स एंड टॉकिंग अबाउट फॉरेन एक्सचेंज. ऑफ कोर्स डी डॉलराइजेशन, हिंदुस्तान का जो डी डॉलराइजेशन, और उसको थोड़ी सी अगर नेशनलिस्ट लैंग्वेज बोलेंगे हम इसको कहते हैं इंटरनेशनलाइजेशन ऑफ द रूपी. सो इंटरनेशनल रूपी होने वाला है, इट इज अ मैटर ऑफ टाइम, क्योंकि डिपेंडेंसी ऑन डॉलर इज गोइंग टू फॉल ओवर ए पीरियड ऑफ टाइम. एंड अगर हम हमारा नेबर के आसपास देखेंगे, आवर नेबर्स एशियन कंट्रीज, हमारा दबदबा बढ़ने वाला है एज फार एज इंपोर्ट्स और एक्सपोर्ट्स आर कंसर्न. एंड अभी तक हम रशिया तक भी पहुंच गए, बहुत जल्दी यूरोप में भी पहुंच जाएंगे. एंड रशिया को हमने कंपल्सन किया कि भाई हमसे रुपये में खरीदो तेल. उनको जरूरत था पैसा, हमने कहा डॉलर में नहीं दे पाएंगे, हम रुपये में देंगे. सो देयरफॉर हमने जो यूक्रेन क्राइसिस में जितना सारा उनसे गैस या तेल खरीदा, सब रुपये में खरीदा. ना वो मना कर रहा है बिकॉज उनका इंप्रूव सिचुएशन इंप्रूव हो रहा है. सो देयरफॉर हमारा जो रुपी है वो अभी रशिया यूक्रेन के आगे पहुंच गया है. सोचिए अगर आप ग्लोबल मैप सामने रखेंगे, यूरोप भी हम पहुंच जाएंगे. रशिया क्या किया, हमने उनको जो रुपी दिया, वो जो कंट्री यूरोप में ट्रांजैक्शन करते हैं इंडिया के साथ, वो बोला भैया मैं डॉलर नहीं दूंगा, यूरो नहीं दूंगा, इंडिया के रुपये आपको दे दूंगा. नो इमेजिन ए बिजनेसमैन or a business person, man and women is irrelevant nowadays. Imagine a business person operating in Europe and doing trading with India and also with Russia. उसको बोला जाएगा जनाब आपने रुपये में ट्रांजैक्शन करो. And imagine second year students amount of foreign exchange expenditure saved. Arbitrage, correct? Futures, option, arbitrage, hedging, everything is made. So therefore डीडॉलराइजेशन होने वाला है. लेकिन कैन यू बिकम ए इंटरनेशनल करेंसी ओवरनाइट? परहैप्स नॉट. बट यस, इंटरनेशनलाइजेशन रुपी इज गोइंग टू हैपन. इट इज अ मैटर ऑफ 6 to 8 years, दैट आई फील. एंड वी हैव टू क्रिएट ए लॉट ऑफ व्हाट यू कॉल, हम इसको कहते हैं जियोपॉलिटिकल इकोनॉमिक डिप्लोमेसी फास्ट अमंग आवर नेबरिंग नेशन, श्रीलंका, बांग्लादेश, नेपाल, भूटान, वियतनाम, इनके साथ. सो I'm definitely happy that it will happen. It is a matter of time. So therefore, if international rupee happens, de-dollarization is automatically happening. Now to give you an information, as you have asked this question, most probably जुलाई या अगस्त महीने में रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया का जो मंथली बुलेटिन आता है, उसमें आप ऑथर का नाम ले लो, दैट इज 100%. ईयर द डेट में भी हियर एंड देयर. वहाँ पे एक ऑथर है माइकल देवदत्त पात्र. ही इज ए डेप्यूटी गवर्नर ऑफ रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया, अगेन ए फेलो alumni from my university in Bhubaneswar, Utkal University, MA, and he has written a paper, and that speech, de-dollarization or international rupee, सब 5 पेज का पेपर है. बेसिकली इट इज नॉट ए पेपर, हम उसका आर्टिकल कहते हैं. जो लोग रिसर्च करते हैं उसको तो मानेंगे नहीं, बट ए पॉलिसी इम्प्लीकेशन पेपर. बहुत मस्त लिखा हुआ है. de-dollarization या इंटरनेशनल ऑफ द करेंसी करने जाओगे, what are the steps involved and how it has to happen. So to answer your question, de-dollarization is bound to happen. It will take some time. Let's not worry about it. Let's focus on internationalization of rupee, starting with our neighboring countries, then through Russia, Ukraine, let's go to the European nations. It is a matter of time. and I am sure it will happen any time in next 8 to 10 years.
Thank you. Now, one more question is asked to, now this one is asked to CA Abhishek sir. It is about, yes sir. So, there has been a kind of a narrative that the budget do not have much for middle class. So, what is your opinion on that? And that question is asked by Mr. Devyas Bojwani from MBA. Is he here? Right. So, what is the impact of the budget on the middle class?
So basically what we have discussed regarding the budget impact, because if you see on overall period, the budget is nothing new, right? It is just continuation of the previous policies, right? And if we say for this particular this budget, there is much, the government has deliberately not delivered upon that. One can say that, and even in the speech also the confidence reflects there, we are coming back and we will give the full budget in July. So we are not giving anything new in this budget, we are just continuing as a vote on account. But if you say specifically for middle class, yes, if one asks my opinion, definitely the government's priority, if you see Garib, right, then youth, Annadata and Nari Shakti. So basically more focus is on Garib, because at the time of COVID they have started this food grain system and everything, right? But in a way, some way, middle class may get benefited from these various schemes like Mudra Yojana, youth development, Vera schemes for the youth development. Definitely for middle class, I believe that it is as comparatively low as compared to the others, but definitely there are certain things and they can get benefited from that.
Thank you so much, sir, for giving the answer. In my personal capacity, I would like to take the opinion of Mr. Amanullah Bhatti on that. You evaluate the impact of the budget, especially on the student's life. We want to know that as a student, how you see that, what are the specific announcements that will be impacting all the students who are over here. Some of them may want to establish their own business and professions. Some of them will be joining the jobs. So how do you evaluate the impact of the budget on student?
I think the impact of budget on students is good because of their what government increase spending on central universities. It does a take down, like cut down by 60.99% to UGC and IIT and IIMs, but I think what they did with a central university is going to be good, because a lot of students, they want to study in IITs and IIMs, but they cannot because there is a very high bar. And so they are into central universities, they are smart, but they don't have the resources. The central universities are not that funded, and if they are funded more, I think that would be better for students.
Great. Good. Now, a lot of demands have been there, especially about your PPT, sir. Anyway. Yes, sir. So, again, we'll be taking it further that there is this capital investment taking place. And you said that, sir, capital investment is financed by debt, and that is reflected in debt to GDP ratio. So, if we compare the other developed nations as well, and we being an emerging one, then debt to equity ratio is not so bad in comparison to other countries. So, what's your take on that?
बढ़ेगा. So I said debt to GDP से बढ़ने मेरे को कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, because all of us are aware हमारा income कितना, हम कितने करोड़ की मकान में, कितने लाख की मकान में रहते हैं. So you know economy क्या है? It is a combination of household and business, and all of us sitting here, including us, don't you think we purchase a house 5 times or 10 times more than our income? Correct. We purchase a house which is 10-15 times more than our income. घर पे पूछ लेने का, घर पे अगर किसी ने लोन लेकर घर खरीदा है, उसको पूछना है भैया पगार कितना है, मैं तो मेरी ही बात करूंगा, पगार का 5 गुने का हमने मकान लेते हैं. करेक्ट. 3 BHK 2 BHK कहाँ से लेते हैं? अपने पैसे से. ना उधार से सो अगर एट ए सिटीजन ऑफ द कंट्री मेरा एक्सपेंडिचर इज फाइनेंस बाई डेट, वो देश क्या है? सिटीजन का समाहार। 140 करोड़ आबादी बिकम्स कंट्री। सो देयरफॉर सर, डेट टू जीडीपी रेशियो हिंदुस्तान में बढ़ने वाला है, लाइक एनी ऑफ द डेवलपिंग कंट्री। लेकिन उसका जो साइड एलिमेंट क्या जानते हैं ना, जो डेट बढ़ेगा इंटरेस्ट पेमेंट भी बढ़ेगा। एंड ये सारे के सारे बच्चों को मालूम है, एंड ऑल ऑफ सम ऑफ इकोनॉमिक्स मालूम है, इंटरेस्ट पेमेंट इज ए ट्रांसफर पेमेंट, वो ऐसे ही देश से उड़ जाएगा, करेक्ट? सो देयरफॉर debt to GDP ratio is nice, development will happen, but also keep in mind interest payment expenses will also be high, which in turn will talk about the impact on the deficit. Therefore हमारे economics में, I mean some of my colleagues are here, if they have economics definitely भुजबल सर तो है, हमारे economics का कहते हैं एक theorem है, Ricardian equivalence theorem, debt is good, debt is bad. उधारी अच्छा भी है, उधारी बुरा भी है। So therefore, I have no problem as far as debt to GDP ratio is increasing. But अगर सिर्फ debt to GDP ratio बढ़ा के कोई मोह और माया दिखाता है, as an economist I am not to accept. क्योंकि interest payment भी बढ़ेगा. And I am here, all of us, those who have taken loan for a 5 times of our income, staying in a nice 3 BHK house. हालांकि हम घर पे 2 या 3 इंसान होंगे, लेकिन घर 3 BHK का, 4 BHK का, EMI देने के टाइम में अच्छा लगता है ना बुरा लगता है, सोच लेने का। एंड जब EMI देते हैं, जब इंटरेस्ट रेट में RBI कुछ इधर उधर करता है, हम लोग क्या करते हैं, अरे इस बार EMI कुछ होने वाला है, अगर नहीं होने वाला है मेरा इंटरेस्ट पेमेंट का अवधि, ड्यूरेशन विल इंक्रीज। वो कैसा लगता है? ऐसे ही लगेगा। जब डेट टू जीडीपी रेशियो बढ़ेगा, देश का कल्याण होगा एंड इंटरेस्ट पेमेंट भी बढ़ता रहेगा। सो बट एवरीथिंग कैन बी कैलकुलेटेड एज ए परसेंटेज ऑफ जीडीपी। सो अगर परसेंटेज जीडीपी में देखोगे, सब काम होते विल बी जस्टिफाइड। So that's my take. Debt to GDP ratio बढ़ने वाला है हिंदुस्तान में आगे चल के।
Okay. Sir, you would like to add something on that?
Yes. Definitely debt will support the economy where the growing and emerging sectors which is not accommodated by the government funding. For instance, we are encouraging greenfield investment where it creates multiple folds in the country. The debt double-edged sword, as rightly mentioned. One is, very developing nations or emerging markets or underdeveloped countries, that is inevitable. But one thing need to be very considered. By taking the ESG and the rate of return which we are as a finance expert, we need to think of considering the sustainability and as well ESG, then we need to go ahead with the rising of the debt from supranational agencies. This is very important. Debt is not a harm, but need to be considered sustainability and as well as required rate of return is very important. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much, sir. There is one question on the similar topic given by Mr. Utsav Joshi. Is he here? Good. Now, sir, he is asking that should government have any preference with regards to internal or external debt? Which one will be more beneficial to government?
Good. This is a very highly economic question. अच्छा लगा सुन के. So I'll go back to my days in economics class में भुजबल साहब तो है ही है, वो तो justify करेंगे ही करेंगे, economics पढ़े हैं हमारे। हम जो पढ़ते थे 1988, 89, 1991 में, one of the best college in भुवनेश्वर और उड़ीसा rather, हमारे टीचर कहते हैं debt is bad, internal debt is more bad than the external debt. क्योंकि external debt को पेमेंट करना पड़ेगा, नहीं करोगे कंट्री दिवाल हो जाएगा, जो हमने होने के चक्री में थे 1991 में, मनमोहन सिंह साहब ने उधार दिए। इंटरनल डेट क्या प्रॉब्लम जानते हैं ना, डिफर करते जाएंगे। लाइक एकदम सिंपल, हम तो कहते हैं इकोनॉमिक्स स्टडी ऑफ ह्यूमन बीइंग एंड स्टडी ऑफ हाउस होल्ड। भाई से लोन लिए हो, दे नहीं पा रहे हो, बोले अरे भाई साहब दे दूंगा 2 महीने के बाद, 3 महीने के बाद, 4 महीने के बाद, आप कर सकते हो। बट थिंक फ्रॉम दैट पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू, जब आप इंटरनल डेट मतलब देश के अंदर जो डेट आपने लिए हैं, अगर वापस सरकार नहीं कर पा रहा है, आप तो उसको ऐसे ही छोड़ोगे नहीं, करेक्ट? आपका इंटरेस्ट पेमेंट भी बढ़ता जाएगा, इंटरेस्ट भी कम्युलेटेड बढ़ता जाएगा। सो देयरफॉर व्हाट विल हैपन आज यू गो ऑन, देश का डेट इंटरनल डेट अगर बढ़ता जाएगा, डेट तो बढ़ा उसके ऊपर जो इंटरेस्ट पेमेंट वो भी बढ़ेगा। सो देयरफॉर रिमेंबर, ए टाइम विल कम व्हेन आपको कंट्री देश कहेगा नहीं आपको अभी देना मुश्किल है. कैसे? लुक एट देयर वाज अ टाइम, आई विल नॉट नेम ऑफ द स्टेट बिकॉज अच्छा नहीं लगता है उस स्टेट का नाम लेना यहाँ पे. सो देयर आर सर्टेन स्टेट्स, उनके पास पगार देने के लिए पैसा नहीं था. देयर आर सर्टेन स्टेट्स इन द कंट्री इन अर्ली 90s और इवन लेट 90s, उनको उनका एम्प्लॉय को, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट एम्प्लॉय को पगार देने के लिए पैसा नहीं था, इतना उधार लेकर गए थे. So therefore, and to answer this question pointedly, debt is bad, internal debt is worst. So again हमारा टीचर को याद करके वही स्टेटमेंट दे दो, डेट इज बैड, एनी उधारी खराब है, लेकिन अंदर की उधारी सबसे बड़ा खराब है, क्योंकि उसमें आप इधर उधर कर सकते हो. एक्सटर्नल डेट के आपको देना पड़ेगा, नहीं तो आपका कंट्री का रेपुटेशन चला जाएगा. So the person who has asked the question, brilliant question, because that reminds me of my days in economics, that internal debt is much more worse than external.
So I hope that gives the answer to your question, Mr. Utsav. There are a lot of stock market enthusiasts over here, and they are keeping on asking me the question about the impact of budget, especially on some sectors in the capital markets. So next question is to you, sir. For the near term, especially for the short frame of time, which sectors are in the highlight in the light of budget from the point of view of the capital markets? Over to you, sir.
So, regarding the stock market, if we see the reaction, one can say it's almost kind of flat reaction by the stock market to the budget, right? The reason being that there is nothing popular as has been announced which is negatively impacting the stock market, or there is no new announcement which boosts the stock market in a speedy way. But it is a flat reaction, so it is because it is a continuation, and the stock market in overall terms, if you say in the long term perspective, it is definitely booming, right? And there are various reasons. One of the reasons being, if you consider at present from the investment point of view, right? The stock market, in my opinion, stock market is the only good investment option at present, even because if you compare with other options, real estate, gold or anything else, the consistent is stock market and real estate, and there will be time when it is booming, but there will be time it is stagnant, right? So stock market being consistent performer, and overall also globally also the India is a very much big market, and ultimately whether FII goes back or not, but ultimately the fund will come to the India, right? So on longer term, it is there definitely a positive note, and stock market will be like this only. In long term, if you go with the longer vision, then definitely it will have the boom under the stock market, right? And specifically for this 2-3 months, any sector specific, again, what are the big announcement like on capex, on solar, right? So related industries will definitely get benefit from this announcement, and accordingly those portfolio will perform much better.
Great. So one very last question. Thank you so much, sir. One very last question to be asked to every panel member sitting over here. And here everyone will be put into a place where we'll have to give an answer. So one good thing about the budget. Okay, we'll be starting from that side. Mr. Amanullah, one good thing about budget and one scope of improvement.
One good thing about the budget was the government's focus on agriculture and the application of nano debt, because India is an agrarian country and India has a lot of potential. Countries like Netherlands and other countries, they don't have land, but the agriculture output is very much so. We can be the leader in this. We can capture a large part of the market, but we are not doing because of implementation of policies. So that's the good thing. And the scope, the bad thing is India, we have a problem of execution. We don't have a problem of a policy, we don't have a problem of slogans, we have a problem of execution. For example, what we talk about the bullet train, housing for all by the year 2024, and a farmer's income being doubled by 2024. So we should work on execution. And another thing was a change in taxation policies, which was something was salaried employees expecting. So I think that's.
Good, good. So implementation is the problem where the government should focus more about. Over to you, Rao sir. One good thing about the budget, one scope of improvement.
Very specific women empowerment. Very specific, there is a scheme which is introduced by this budget for, for a healthy nation, for a gender, especially women suffering very severe cancer related issue. So to overcome that, there is a big announcement which happened this budget. That will definitely add an advantage to our country. In a pie of our rupee, the contribution which made by the woman is I expect there is a huge change in the future. That is a one important thing. Another thing, the other side, negative side, of course, by knowingly or unknowingly, we are digitalization. In the process of digitalization, there is a one important observation is data, every data which we had, personalization of personal data, which is acquired by the institutions, that may hamper the personal privacy. This is what I feel. Thank you.
Right, so there was something that was expected, especially from the data privacy point of view. And sir, especially after the emergence of the AI, we see nowadays that deepfakes and there are constant violations of the individual's intellectual property rights in the era of AI. For that, there were some regulations needed, and in fact, there were a lot of expectations on the regulations. Over to you, Dr. Sunil Kumar Jakoria. One good thing about the budget, one scope of improvement.
Good afternoon, everyone. Before I make any comments, allow me to digress from the main question. I would make it a point to, first of all, congratulate your colleague who is sitting with all of us. That has been one of the objectives of introducing students into the decision-making process, relying more and more on students' leadership skills. And I would be very, very happy in case in the next edition of Visleshan, we have few more students coming and sitting here. Can I see next year? Can I see next year? Very good. Now coming on to the question, of course a budget will be a bundle of many things. There will be many good things and there are plenty of misses also. If we focus on any one, in my opinion, the one thing which is good about the budget is that it kept the expectations of every stakeholder, and as it should be, because this is basically not a full budget, it is an interim budget, and the expectations of all stakeholders have been kept at a very, very reasonable level. In the past many years, you might have seen that the expectations of lowering the direct tax rates have been there, but somehow after the rates are announced, we find that the announcements are not matching the expectations, and it has an immediate impact on what you see in Nifty as well as Sensex. So that I would rate as one of the positives of the budget. The negative is, the negative is about the implementation part. The government has been repeatedly emphasizing, and rightly so, repeatedly emphasizing on the need of skilling youth. This point has been very prominently highlighted in the national education policy as well. However, that comes with an appropriate funding to the education sector. While there is evidently an year-on-year growth in as far as the spend on education is concerned, but if we compare it with what the world average is, we are still far away as a percentage of GDP spent on the education. So ultimately, if you are looking at 2047 as a developed state, or even if not 2047, maybe 50 years hence, 2087 or 97, the point is there are no two opinions about the fact that you need to invest a lot on human and intellectual capital, the citizens of this country. This is where I suppose it is not doing bad, but at the same time, it is still stuck at the same old percentages. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for very precise remark on the percentage of allocation to education.
So,
over to you, sir.
I will have 4 points. As a citizen, as an economist. As a citizen, extremely happy because the way the narratives have been built and aggressive nation building. As a citizen, I'm extremely happy about what the budget is trying to talk about in next 25, 30 years. पॉजिटिव एज ए सिटीजन व्हाट इज माई नेगेटिव इज कि भाई कहीं ना कहीं थोड़ा सा सच भी बोलने के लिए कोशिश करते हैं. दैट मीन्स डेटा. 3 बार एस्टिमेट देके हमें बेवकूफ मत बनाइएगा. You cannot have a same figure for 2-3 years or 2-3 times the same figure. So थोड़े सिटीजन आई बिलीव थोड़ा सा डेटा का इंप्रूव करिएगा सो दैट हम लोग को इंटरप्रिटेशन करने में आसान रहेगा एंड पॉलिसी डिबेट वगैरह अच्छे से होगा. दैट्स माई सिटीजन. एज इकोनॉमिस्ट द बेस्ट पॉजिटिव इज राव साहब वाज मेंशन्ड एंड आई विल गिव यू द फैक्ट्स. द जेंडर बजट एस्टिमेट्स अप 38.6% in 24-25 over last years. I mean, when you talk about equality, everything, forget about the forecast, Nari, Bhakti, Bandhana, etc. Gender budget has increased by 38.6%. मैं नहीं कह रहा हूँ वो टाइम्स ऑफ इंडिया में आया, then उनका background भी है. So, I mean, who will say no to this as an economist or a citizen? Who will say no? So, as an economist, if the gender budget is increasing by 38.6%, and they are saying it has increased across 7 ministries and departments, and these details are there. I will not go to the details. Extremely positive because आज इकोनॉमिस्ट अगर जेंडर डेवलपमेंट होता है और स्पेंड होता है, इमेजिन द पर्कुलेशन इफेक्ट दैट विल हैव एट द इकोनॉमी एट लार्ज. हमारे इकोनॉमिक्स में कहते हैं कि भाई डायरेक्ट बैकवर्ड लिंकेज, डायरेक्ट फॉरवर्ड लिंकेज. अगर जेंडर डेवलपमेंट होता है वो वर्टिकल इंटीग्रेशन में अपवर्ड भी होगा, डाउनवर्ड भी होगा. सो देयरफॉर दैट्स वन नेगेटिव अबाउट द एज ए इकोनॉमिस्ट. आई मीन अगेन नंबर मैच नहीं हो रहा है. So all these numbers that they are saying fiscal deficit, trade deficit, balance, etc. So therefore, I mean, credibility of the documents, and I will say create documents, I put the credibility of economists. हिंदुस्तान में as an economist, इकोनॉमिस्ट का क्रेडिबिलिटी आजकल क्वेश्चन में आ गया है. बिकॉज एक जमाना था, अगेन भुजबल साहब है, हमारे इकोनॉमिस्ट में कहा जाता था एन इकोनॉमिस्ट ए स्ट्रेंज बेड फेलो टू स्टार्ट विथ, बट एवरीबडी आफ्टर सर्टन पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम इकोनॉमिस्ट बिकम्स ए विलिंग बेड फेलो बिकॉज they understand both the side of economics, leftist, rightist, middleist, whatever you say. So therefore हम लोगों का थोड़ी सी as an economist I feel bad, हम लोग का credibility के ऊपर थोड़ी सी क्वेश्चन आ जाता है जब हम ऐसे ही थोड़ी बहुत डेटा वगैरह देखते हैं.
Sir, sorry to interrupt you on that, but then on credibility aspect, how we are measuring the credibility?
Very simple.
Whether in terms of the estimation accuracy or in terms of the fulfillment of the promise? Fulfillment.
I mean, all of us are aware, पगार मिलेगा 5 लाख करके नौकरी में आ रहे हैं, 3.5 लाख 4 लाख में पगार हो गया. साहब बताइए किस में मेरे को खुश होगा? 5 लाख में प्रॉमिस करके आया था, 10 लाख में प्रॉमिस करके आया था, भाई एट द एंड ऑफ द डे देखता हूँ 8.5 लाख मिला. अगर आपका बजट एस्टिमेट कहता है 5 करोड़, भाई रिवाइज एस्टिमेट कैन बी 4.8, 4.9 काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स. अगर बजट एस्टिमेट कहता है 4,000 करोड़, उसमें हमने अचीव करते हैं 3,500 करोड़, 500 करोड़ का अचीव नहीं होता है, फिर हम अगले साल करेंगे, हम उसको 5,000 करोड़ करेंगे. आई मीन दैट्स तो क्रेडिबिलिटी इशू ना.
So in terms of the revised estimates we see,
Correct.
then do you see that there are major variations from
yes,
what was promised?
Yes, that's the major way I'm saying. I gave an example one, that is education. Education,
Promise is not
your
delivered.
budget estimate say 34,500 crore. Budget estimate of 2023-24. Correct? आपने रिवाइज एस्टिमेट कहता है हम उसमें से 29,000 करोड़ खर्चा किए हैं. अब 24-25 का बजट एस्टिमेट तो कह रहे हो 35,000 करोड़ करूंगा, भैया 5,000 करोड़ तो खर्चा नहीं कर पाए हो, ऊपर से आप कर रहे हो हम बढ़ाएं 5,000 और 100 करोड़. Come on, I mean, we are all, they are all management students who have done a QT course. Let's be honest, they are all management students. All of us has done understand the mathematics. I am unable to achieve my target, but I am increasing my target. At the nation at large, company होता तो I can understand. 10-12 करोड़ 2 फोन मार दूंगा, सेल्स प्रेशर दे दूंगा, अचीव कर देगा. इकोनॉमी में एजुकेशन एक्सपेंडिचर को मैं सेल्स प्रेशर क्या दूंगा? इकोनॉमी में एजुकेशन अगर 4,000 करोड़ खर्चा नहीं कर पाया सरकार 9 महीने के अंदर, करेक्ट, अगले 3 महीने 4,000 करोड़ खर्चा कर देगा, तो सेल्स प्रेशर क्या दूंगा यहाँ पे, टू दी सेंट्रल यूनिवर्सिटी, IIT एंड IIMs एंड अदर थिंग्स, और टू दी एकलव्य स्कूल और CBSE बोर्ड, 4,000 रुपए खर्चा करो 3 महीने में.
Okay.
So that's the credibility. So therefore they are all management students. So therefore my point is, यही क्रेडिबिलिटी है ना भैया, बना दो ना. हम इस साल 4,000 करोड़ खर्चा नहीं कर पाए, इसीलिए इस साल का खर्चा हमने 2,000 करोड़ कम कर दिया. तो बिंदास बोलो, तो बोलने में तो कोई दिक्कत नहीं है.
Okay.
That's the credibility of an economy. क्योंकि सुनिए, हाँ, why I'm asking credibility is, इनको जो बना कर देते हैं ना, वो चीफ इकोनॉमिक एडवाइजर ऑफ द कंट्री हु इज एन इकोनॉमिस्ट like us, and he is a I am Ahmedabad graduate, एंड ही हैज ए PhD इकोनॉमिक्स somewhere in US. तो इसीलिए मेरे को हमारे ऊपर जो इकोनॉमिक्स के ऊपर सवाल आ जाता है, मेरा और सरकार को सवाल नहीं करता हूँ, बिकॉज सरकार को डेटा जो बना के देता है, जो लिखता है, वो हमारे ऐसा कोई इकोनॉमिस्ट ही है, उसको अगर समझ में नहीं आएगा तो मैं तो आज इकोनॉमिक्स को बुरा तो मानूंगा ना.
Understood, sir. Got your point. So I was just trying to understand that how we were measuring the credibility. But on the same point, there were various other firms where the estimations were proven right.
That's exactly.
Especially the bigger one was that 10 lakhs crores of rupees of capital investment which was projected. Anyway, thank you so much for, and this is what the love students have poured in you, sir. Thank you so much for giving very comprehensive answer. Over to you, sir. One good thing about the budget and one scope of improvement.
So many of the points has been already been covered. So for good thing for me is a allotment for the capex, right? For the investment in infrastructure. The last year has been increased substantially by 33% to reach to the 10 lakh crore. Now it is 11 lakh crore, right? So I believe that investment in capex will definitely be useful in rotating money, and it will give money to the end consumers. And if you see allocation wise also, after defense, other two ministries are Ministry of Road and Transport and Railways, who get the major allocation of the fund, right? So investment in the capex is a good point. Regarding the negative thing, implementation, we have already discussed, there are issues with the implementation. But another thing is, if you see that post-COVID, because there are government introduced various beneficial schemes, and I am not against the beneficial schemes, but post-COVID we have government has started giving free ration to the 80 crore people, right? And now it is continued after these 3 or 4 years, it is still continued, and budget has proposed continuations. So is these kind of schemes are like that, once you implement and once you continue, then it is, because it affecting mass, so then it is very difficult to reverse that decision, and at some point of time that decision need to be taken. So that it's in my perspective, it's what is negative from the budget.
Thank you so much, sir. Should I?
Yes, of course, you are a part.
Okay.
Your own assessment.
I think the good thing about the budget was that continuation and consistency of what we have been delivering in last couple of years, especially in the capital investment point of view, which will have a multiplier effect in upcoming years to come. And the bad thing about, I would not say bad thing, but definitely there is a scope of improvement as far as my opinion is concerned, is that more percentage of allocation should go to health and education, as it was rightly pointed out by Dr. Sunil Kumar Jakhori as well. That has been kept constant and stagnant at one particular level since last many number of years. So that's my observation. Again, I thank all the dignitaries for being part of this. It was absolute pleasure for me to be a part of all the esteemed colleagues like this. I would like to hand over these proceedings to our amazing anchors, Ms. Himja and Mr. Savyasachi. Over to you, please.
The panel discussion proved to be truly enriching, providing us with a captivating experience. A heartfelt thank you to all the panelists for generous sharing their valuable insight. Special appreciation goes to the student representative, Mr. Amanullah Bhatti, for his valuable contribution, and Professor Ronak Raithatta for his effective moderation. Now I would like to request to our Professor, Mr. Ronak Raithatta and Mr. Amanullah Bhatti, to take their seats in the audience, while I request other esteemed dignitaries to remain seated on the dais.
Now let us move on to the felicitation ceremony. We kindly request Dean Sir, Professor Dr. Sunil Kumar Chakhoria, to present a token of appreciation to Professor Dr. Rasananda Panda for his valuable contributions. Thank you, sir. We are short of words to describe the significance of your presence. Thank you, sir. We kindly request Professor Dr. Meda Srinivasa Rao to present a token of appreciation to CA Abhishek Doshi for his valuable inputs. Thank you, sir. We are privileged to have you with us. Thank you, sir.
Attention everybody, a QR code has been displayed here. So if you